Hello bookworms! Today I'm going to be doing a video all about the books that have been on my TBR for the longest. What I did in order to find this out is I went to Goodreads and I sorted my to-read shelf by date added so I could see the ones that have been there the longest. So I did a combination of those and I think a couple of them from my consideration shelf. These 10 books are the ones that have been on my shelves for the longest that I'm still actively interested in reading and haven't gotten to. The first book is Sabriel by Garth Nix. This is the first book in a quartet. It's a young adult fantasy series and it's a very old young adult fantasy series. It's kind of one of the ones that I think of when people talk about classic young adult fantasy. So it's something that I still am very interested in reading. I really do want to have that foundation. I don't know why I haven't gotten to it yet, but it has been on my TBR since 2015, if you can believe that. It's been that long and I still haven't read it. I don't know what I'm doing, but I really do want to prioritize it probably for next year because I think I do have the rest of my year kind of planned out when it comes to reading, but it's definitely a series that I will not be removing from my TBR because I am very interested in reading it. Next is a book that has also been on my TBR since 2015, and that is Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. This book has survived so many unhauls and I don't know why I haven't gotten to it. There was a time when almost everyone on BookTube was talking about it, and that's definitely the time that I ended up picking up a copy because it sounded like something that I would really enjoy. It's like a post-apocalyptic world and it follows a Shakespearean troupe, and it was a finalist for a National Book Award. So it has a lot of things going for it. It's definitely on the more literary side, but I do very much want to get to it at some point. Again, I don't know when, but I still feel just as excited about this book as I did when I first said that I wanted to read it in 2015. Number 3 is This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. This is one, again, that I'm very surprised that I haven't gotten to yet. It's one that I foresee myself potentially reading before the end of the year, along with its sequel and conclusion, which is Our Dark Duet. They make up the monsters of Verity duology, and it follows a girl and a boy, and there's like a world with monsters, and I just love Victoria Schwab's writing, so I want to read all of the things that she has ever published. I don't know why the series has escaped me thus far, but I do plan on reading it, hopefully soon. Number 4 actually came as a complete surprise to me, and that is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Not only is this one that I've had on my TBR since 2015 or 2016, I think it's when I first read Mistborn, I was like, wow, this is so great. I want to read all the Brandon Sanderson, and I added a whole bunch of books of his to my TBR. Alas, have not gotten to all of them, but I am very excited to say that I am reading The Way of Kings this October. I already have a buddy read planned along with Elle from Elliot Brooks and also Jay from Captured in Words, so I'm very, very excited that this one will be coming off of this list during the month of October. This one is 1,000 pages long and I am living for every word. I'm so excited. I love Brandon Sanderson's writing so much. I love the way that he crafts characters, and this world just sounds so fascinating to me. Next on my list is another Brandon Sanderson book, and that is The Alloy of Law. This is book 4 in the Mistborn series, but book 1 in the second era of Mistborn. So this is, again, must be another one that I added to my TBR after I read the first Mistborn book, but haven't gotten to it yet. It makes sense that this would be on there since I just recently read books 2 and 3, so this is the natural next one to come. I've heard that the second era is not as good as the first era, but nonetheless, I'm still excited to see how the world progressed and what kind of characters Brandon came up with for this second era. Number 6 on my list is Lost Stars by Claudia Gray. This one is actually one that was an unintentional DNF. I started reading it when Andrew and I went on our honeymoon, so that was 3.5 years ago. I want to say I read about half of this on the plane, and then I got really sick on our honeymoon actually, and I ended up like not being able to sleep or anything because my throat was hurting so much. So that was really fun, but I didn't get to finish the book, and I tend, when I start books on vacation, if I don't finish them while I'm on vacation, I tend not to pick them back up once I get home. So I kind of just ended up putting it to the side, but I really do want to read it and complete it, and I was really enjoying what I had read of it so far. So this one recently, because I realized that it was on my DNF shelf, got moved back to my want to read shelf, and that's why this one has been on there for quite a while. Number 7 on my list is Wildwood Dancing by Juliette Marillier. This is one, again, that I've obviously had on my TBR for quite a while, one that I'm still very interested in reading. This one was actually Juliette Marillier's first young adult novel, and it's inspired by the 12 Dancing Princesses. I'm expecting it to read very much like a fairy tale. I also just really love this cover. I think it's super beautiful. Very excited to read this, although I am very surprised that this book has been on my TBR for longer than Heart's Blood by Juliette Marillier, because that is another one that I've wanted to read for ages. Next is The Black Prism by Brent Weeks. This is one that I read about 100 pages of a couple of years ago. Again, it was another one that I kind of just decided at the time to put aside because, one, it was too big for me to carry on my commute and fit in a bag because it's pretty thick, and two, I really did enjoy what I had read, but I wasn't completely sold, and then I had heard some mixed reviews, so I decided to put it to the side and kind of DNF'd it, and then I recently became more interested in picking it back up, so it moved back to my want to read shelf a couple of months ago, but it's one that I've had listed on Goodreads for quite a while. Number 9 on my list is Red Seas Under Red Skies by Scott Lynch. This is the second book in the Gentleman Bastard series. I really love The Lies of Locke Lamora, and I had a lot of heartbreak at the end of that novel, so I had been putting this one off for so long, and now it's been long enough that I really want to actually reread Lies of Locke Lamora before diving into this second book, and I'm planning on doing so very soon, so this one should definitely be coming off of my TBR, hopefully within the next couple of months. And then finally, the 10th book that has been on my TBR the longest is God's Grave by Jay Kristoff. This is actually one that I was planning on reading in September, but I took so long reading The Eye of the World that a couple of books that I had planned on didn't get read. So we'll see if I get to it in October or if it's going to be pushed off another month because I have another ambitious TBR in October. So we'll see what happens. Definitely planning on reading it soon, but I'm also surprised that this is one of the ones that's been on my TBR for the longest. I really thought that some other books would have been in there instead, and I'm really excited to be able to read it and then to dive into the conclusion, Dark Dawn, once I finish. So those are 10 books that have been on my TBR for the longest. I would love to know what books you guys have been putting off for a long time. You can sign onto your Goodreads account and sort by date added. So if you want to let me know some of the ones that you have had on your TBR for ages, I would love to know. I was also surprised that so many of the ones that I had added to my want to read shelf so long ago are books that I still am really interested in reading. I would be surprised if I didn't have the majority of these 10 books read by the end of 2020. That might be a bold statement. We'll see what happens, but I am planning on reading some of them very soon, so we shall see. That's all that I have for this video, and I will see you guys soon in a new one. Bye!